Boston Law School. And one interesting thing I've discovered over the past year or so is last year all of my students were talking blockchain all the time. This year, I don't know, I have a couple of theories on what happened, but no one really is talking blockchain this year. My students, everyone wanted to learn blockchain last year. No one cares about learning blockchain this year with a couple of exceptions. I think what happened was the ICO meltdown and all the fraudulent transactions there, and everyone got a little bit panicky. But isn't that the perfect time for lawyers to get involved?
Yes.
There aren't great opportunities now for lawyers in the blockchain space because of fraudulent ICOs. I don't know what is. I think we've all stepped back as an industry and we've got to rethink what's going on. Last year, the students and I built a prototype for a global blockchain policy wiki. The goal was to create something that the legal hackers community around the world could use to self-populate the laws of the respective countries and regions so that we could all share information across the globe and figure out where the havens and pariah states might be for different blockchain technologies. I would love to use this community again to relaunch that, something like that. A vehicle, essentially a crowdsourced, self-populatable vehicle for lawyers, mostly lawyers and policymakers, to understand the global framework. That's sort of what I want to throw out there. Things have changed a lot in recent past few months about what's going on around the world and among the states as far as blockchain rules and compliance and crypto compliance issues are concerned. And that's probably where this discussion is going to go to some extent, I think.
Does this work? Yeah. Hi, I'm Dan Nathan. I'm a member of the Gilded Legal Society. There's a separation here. I hope it's not. I hope it's not symbolic. Hope they're on the same side of the issues. I hate to hear that where lawyers come in is to clean up the messes that are made. Being a member of a big firm, yeah, we make a lot of our, a lot of what we do comes down to economics, dollars and cents, and we're not quite vultures, but we make a lot of our money off of things that go wrong. And that's my career is, most of my career is with government. Be one of the ones who makes things go wrong. I did enforcement work at the SEC, the CFTC, and FINRA, which regulates broker-dealers. So, although I left 6 years ago, it was really before blockchain was a thing. So I went into private practice where I represent everybody who I used to go after in enforcement, and then have come into the blockchain world. Which is a long prelude to saying, yeah, a lot of my work is cleaning things up, but hopefully more and more of my work is helping set things up in the right way. It takes a thief to catch a thief, and it also takes somebody who knows how to prosecute cases to figure out how to make things work right. So I'm a member of our firm is known for being highly innovative and being heavily into lots of types of new tech, also AI, also driverless vehicles. We won't talk about that today. And heavily into blockchain. And we are fully into every stage of the blockchain process so that I don't, by the way, I do lots of other work too, but I'm not sitting at my desk waiting for something to go wrong. If something goes wrong, we want to be involved. And, being just 6 years in big law, I've managed to convince myself that everything I do is actually okay. It's all right. And 8 years ago, you wouldn't have heard me say this. And let me just run down very quickly what big firms do, what big law and other law firms do in this area. One of my former colleagues from another big law firm came in the decade with Schiff Harden, can also fill in some. What we do in our firm in the blockchain area is basically four things. We help raise capital through for blockchain companies, through traditional means, through ICOs, through STOs, through SAFs. We help come to market. We help contract. It's called technology contracting. We help the product companies contract with others, basically. It's what lawyers traditionally do. It's called technology contracting. We help put things in place, including contracts with all of your users, terms of service agreements, all of that. We do that. We also help entities who are under regulation by any regulator who are within jurisdiction come into compliance. And that's much more of what I do personally, because that's what draws in the background. So, and we'll get into, I assume, from Q's and A's, what areas there are, but until we get into that modern world, the new world everybody's talking about, where, you don't have to worry about a 60-year-old partner, hewing to traditional means, unfortunately, those are the systems we have to deal with. Those are the legal systems, that's there, and as much as we'd like to avoid it, and as much as cryptocurrency and the blockchain has been established to get around that, it's still there, and you can count the regulators being 5 or 10 years behind technological innovation. So that's what we do. And then the last part is the culture part. The last part of what we do is, again, when people get sued, investigated, sued by the government, prosecuted, we're there to try to help them out of it. And again, I feel good about it because in most cases, literally most cases, it's based on the government's misunderstanding of the area. And in most other cases, it's based on an entrepreneur's not incomplete understanding of what's required. In very few cases is it based on somebody who wants to try to rip people. It just isn't. So again, I feel very good about being able to operate in that world. Let me introduce, and hopefully this should be Q&A, and hopefully I threw out enough there to whet your appetites and give, and we may be calling on some of you to help pitch in because we're gonna stay within our lanes. We know some stuff we don't know. So let me pass it on to my colleague, George Pesach.
I'll take over. Hi, my name is George Pesach. I'm also at work. I'm a managing associate there. Dan did a great job at introducing kind of what as a big law firm, how we view our ability to assist companies in the space, which is, I personally have a bit of a internal battle going because I'm a believer in the space. I think it's going to bring about a lot of change. However, as a white-collar securities litigation attorney, the government's rules don't change as fast, right? So it's how do you continue to promote the development in the space within the construct that it has to fit within, and a lot of times it just doesn't. So a lot of these companies have to take the risk, go out there, make a huge enough change so that the government has to accept who they are, what they're doing, and change in that way. It usually doesn't happen, but when it does happen, it's a huge victory. We have seen a little bit of movement from the government's point. For example, Hinman's statement that you can have something that's issued as a security and then converts into a non-security. And then Clayton kind of jumped on and said and blessed that by saying that he agrees with that kind of analysis.
Very recent, right?
Very recent, right?
Yeah.
That's huge, right? The SEC does not move much on their rules. So the fact that they said that, there's some light at the end of the tunnel. However, that in itself raises a huge amount of legal questions, right? So, and we can get into those too, but it's not a complete victory. Now you have other regulators to worry about once you're no longer a security, so you have to think about that as well. So I think it's enough for me. So if you've got, we're here to answer any questions that we can.
So first off, I just want to say thank you to Steve for organizing this and inviting me to be a part of this panel. I feel honored to be with this esteemed panel who probably knows a lot more, has been in the space longer than I have. But anyways, my name is Lisa Lefevre. I am a Compliance and Operations Associate at LGO Markets, which is a part of the larger company, LGO Group.
Sorry. That should work.
Anyways, so a couple years ago, I was one of the students that John was describing, and I had the honor of taking a class by Professor Shadab. Some of you guys might know him. I know he was involved in organizing this last year. So I had a class, he mentioned smart contracts and blockchain. I was like, oh, this is really interesting. I should probably write my final paper on this. And so I did that, and then that led to other papers, law review articles, etc. And I kind of saw when I was graduating from law school how it plays into securities law and securities litigation. And at the time, I was at a law firm who did securities litigation, so I was talking to the managing partner. I was like, this is something we need to be paying attention to. So at that point in my life, I was either going to continue at a law firm and maybe end up, if I was lucky, like one of you guys, but then I had the opportunity to meet the chief compliance officer at LGO Markets. And I was like, wow, that'd be really cool to take this other route and sort of go in-house and actually be a part of what I view as like on the ground compliance and regulatory and legal work. So I guess we'll see. I mean, I learn a lot every day, and who knows what could happen. I could stay there, go somewhere else. Anyways, what attracted me to the company was I see this cryptocurrency exchange market. There's hacks every day. I think there's a new hack today. And they're, like the New York Attorney General's report, they're acting with all these conflicts of interest, manipulation, and LGO markets, we aim to sort of do what is capable with this technology, that is, bring fairness, security, and transparency to a market where, it boasts about being like, oh, come join this decentralized financial ecosystem, when actually you're using a centralized exchange that might actually be, worse off as far as safety of your assets. But this company, I think, has taken, blockchain for one of its purest uses that I can see. We have the anti-front running module built into our platform. We don't hold client assets. So it's also interesting from a regulatory perspective with our, sort of unique infrastructure. How does that fit into, traditional laws and, other centralized exchanges that are going the, money transmitter route, et cetera. So anyways, I welcome your questions and I hope I can answer them.
Great, thank you for the introductions. Just to quickly reintroduce myself, Stephen Nam, managing editor of the Stanford Journal Blockchain Law and Policy. We are basically the sole blockchain-focused academic journal at Stanford currently. And we're all about being a disinterested, neutral, hopefully reputable platform to advance discourse and really kind of have this layer of academic literature that others can build upon, whether that's practitioners, academia, and so forth. So happy to be here. We can begin the Q&A. I do have some very general starter questions that might help to kick off, unless someone wants to go first. These do not need to be answered in any particular order. Also, of course, panelists can choose to kind of bypass certain questions if it's sensitive. Let's always try to be respectful.